You know, it wasn't that long ago that Mark Ruffalo thought he'd given up acting for good, and he had some pretty good reasons, too. He felt burnt out by Hollywood. He was traumatized by the death of his kid brother, who had been found shot dead in his apartment a year earlier. Mark got rid of his agent and his publicist, and he moved his family to a tiny town in upstate New York. Then along came the script, The Kids Are All Right. Mark played the part of a charming sperm donor as an homage to his brother.
I'm a doer. That's how I learned. That's just me. I'm weird that way, I guess.
And the role, which won him an Oscar nod, helped to rekindle his love of acting. It wasn't the first time Mark had thought about jacking it in, though. As a struggling actor, he says he auditioned for 800 roles before finally landing a good one in You Can Count on Me.
If you're such a baby that you gotta tell your mommy about us playing pool when I totally asked you not to, and I gotta listen to her shit all day, then you are going to the babysitter so you can stay at the baby house.
He won rave reviews, but just as his career was gathering steam, he developed a brain tumor that left his face partially paralyzed for 10 months. He says the experience made him appreciate what really matters, and since then, he's become an outspoken and at times controversial environmental activist.
We are fighting against climate change! Against climate change!
Now he's bringing the whole green thing to his new movie. Mark's playing the Hulk. See what I did there? Green is in the Avengers. And if you're surprised to see him in a summer blockbuster, you're probably not nearly as surprised as Mark is himself.
Talk to Fury. He needs you on this.
He needs me in a cage?
No one's gonna put you in.
Stop lying to me! I'm sorry. That was me.
Please welcome to the show, Mark Ruffalo. Hey, bud. Nice to see you. How are you?
I'm good.
Congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
That's it. Listen, man, I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but you were not necessarily known for being the comic book guy.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't the go-to guy, I don't think, right off the bat for this one.
So for you, it's just, you thought, yeah, I mean, I know you watched that stuff, right? You liked the Hulk, didn't you?
I did. As a kid, I loved the Hulk. I was a little Banner Hulk myself. But I never really saw myself being cast in this world, actually.
And so it happened, and then you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, it was a little terrifying.
I think you did. I think you played it right. You did something that I haven't seen other people do when they played Hulk. Was when you're Banner, you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't really see people do that. Was that a choice to be that way?
Yeah, you know, he has he has this thing that could go off at any minute and cause a lot of damage to innocent people and to property, and you know, he's a guy who's, you know, at this point in his life, he doesn't really want to be there. But he's also wants to be there. Yeah. And I see Banner as this amalgamation of contradictions.
See, but I wondered if that was you too, because here's a guy that acted, and then you stopped, and then you kind of came back out of a sense of duty, and you wanted to be there, but you didn't really want to be there.
There's you know, sometimes an actor uses a part to work out his own mythology or her own mythology, and you know, there's some interesting things about Banner and Hulk that I could find parallel to my own life, running away from Hollywood, the beast, the big green beast that can be destructive and also positive in turns.
Why did you go away? Because your career was building.
Well, I had suffered, I lost my brother and kind of had a moment of disillusionment with Hollywood, and actually the business side of Hollywood more than acting, but at the time I really didn't know the difference between the two, or had forgotten. And just a need to recalibrate, rethink, understand and my relationship to what I did. And I had 3 small children, and I wanted them to have a chance to climb trees and catch salamanders and frogs. Life in Los Angeles is very expensive, and I found myself at the mercy of a mortgage and private schools that are very expensive. And my wife and I looked at each other at one point and said, what are we doing? Is this what our life really is? It's just, you know, or we don't get to see each other. You know, I'm always on the road. I have to take every job that comes along. So we just pulled back and simplified and got a smaller house and moved out into the country and simplified, honestly.
Almost a place that almost connected to you when you were younger, because you'd been there before, right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin. My family's from Quebecois, and they were woodsmen and fur trappers, and I grew up in the forest of Wisconsin, and I.
Do you think PETA will throw paint on you just for saying that?
I hope not. Where is Peter?
They're not here.
Does he have paint?
Peter's not here.
Oh, PETA.
PETA.
I thought you said Peter.
No, Peter Goober, who made your film.
No, I know. I was like, where is that little man?
Can you imagine that one guy called Peter going, "Hey, Ruffalo"?
Exactly. I don't know if that was a bit on the show. Here comes the paint guy.
I was thinking more of the people for the ethical treatment of animals, but
yes.
that aside.
No, I understand now. I hope they don't. That would suck.
So it's connected to your home life then, in a sense, being there.
Yeah, and the kids got to run. You know, it's been great for us, and I get to look at my wife in the eyes more often than not, which is nice, and it's been a nice thing for us.
So you recalibrated.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm an actor. I actually love acting. It's just Hollywood that I hated, and not Hollywood, you know, per se as a place, but just the business side of it was I mixed up the acting with the business side.
Do you ever get to reflect on those early days? Do you think about those days?
As a young actor in the trenches, with my fists up, the Hulk is a manifestation of that angry 20-year-old.
How about this thing, though? Is this a manifestation of the early kids? Let's go back.
Oh, gosh.
How can I forget? It was right after that Papa and Jamie decided they couldn't hide it from me any longer. Jamie told me, and I called him a liar, Mom. I called him a liar.
Who was that kid, Mark? Who was that kid?
That was a very passionate, ambitious, hardworking young actor who was very poor.
Hopefully the Avengers will change that.
I love that kid.
Are you close to that kid yet?
I'm finally coming to peace with that kid.
I heard that, the kids are all right, that after your brother passed away and you came back, you took that movie kind of because the character was kind of him in a way.
Yeah. That was my homage to my little brother, who was very much like that character. Just a love of life. He devoured life, and very sexy and very free with himself, and fun, a lot of fun to be with. And that was my homage love poem to him.
You've now become a bit of in a way, a spokesperson. You're stepping up for some issues in your own backyard, aren't you?
Yeah.
How's that going? I mean, you're talking about fracking. You're talking about big environmental issues.
Yeah. Well, when I moved up to upstate New York, I unwittingly stepped into moved to a place where they wanted to do hydrofracking, which to me at the time sounded like a great idea. It sounded like the best thing since asbestos. And it was going to create jobs, and it was going to make us energy independent. It sounded really good, And I thought, okay, this sounds great. But then I started to look a little bit further than the Exxon ad that we all are treated to every 5 minutes when we watch television. And I started to see a more ominous picture arise where, I started to go to the communities where this was being done. And I went to a community with Robert Kennedy Jr. And these poor people, it was like 50 of them, were gathered around, and they literally thought Robert was Jesus Christ himself come to save them. At the time, Robert was actually very pro-gas, and so ended up basically saying, this is outrageous. How can this be happening to you? Have you talked to your state attorney? Yes, we have. They're not interested. Have you talked to the DEP? Yes, they won't do anything. He worked down the line of all the people who are supposed to protect people from their water being poisoned and their homes blowing up because they're filling up with methane. And there was no one there to save these people. This industry had been exempted from the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Clean Air Act, the Superfund Act, all of these environmental protections, the EPA, all these environmental protections that were meant to save Americans from this type of thing, this industry had been completely exempted from. And so there was no one there to save them, except for me and Robert Kennedy Jr.
How'd you feel about that?
I didn't like that. I wanted to run away. I was like, yes, Robert's your guy, you know. And Robert, you're their guy. And Robert didn't take it, and so the next guy in the room was me. And, you know, there came that moment of, well, are you who you say you are, Mr. Big Actor Man? Yeah. You know, do you care about people? Do you actually, you know, are you really for the little guy? Do you really? You put your money where your mouth is, Smarty? Yeah. And
dude, a lot of people answered yes, but I'm not willing to go that far for that question.
That was my first response, and I didn't want to, and I fought against it, but I just kept turning up being the only guy in the room.
Yeah, do it. Stick around, more with Mark Ruffalo after this.
Things have been kind of tough, you know. It's me out of work, and Louise worried about how we're going to take care of Jamie. I guess she just snapped. The doctor said she was just depressed after the baby. All she needed was a few weeks, and she'd get over it, but...
Where's she now?
Oh, she's out looking for Jamie. I mean, we both were, right? But then I came back, you know, I thought maybe somebody would call.
You fell.
1994, you and Paul.
That's my first job.
That's your first job?
That's my first job.
1994, Due South.
That's right. That was my first paid acting gig.
What did it feel like? Who was the first call you made when you got it?
My grandpa.
What would you tell him?
Grandpa, I got a job. No, you know what? It's actually my mom and dad, but my grandpa was next. But my grandpa was like, "What are you doing? You're such a smart boy. What are you crazy? No one makes it in acting. I'm dying for you."
Is that what you needed?
Actually, he called me crying.
You did?
Yeah. I called him. I told him I got it. He's like, "Oh, that's good," you know. But then he watched it, and I got a message from him, and he called me, and he was sobbing.
Oh man, heavy.
And he was sobbing, and then finally he's like, "I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got it. I didn't think you had it, but you got it." I couldn't have done it better myself.
That's the story of your life, isn't it?
That is the story of my life. Now the fanboys are saying the same thing.
What's that about you? What is the genesis of the term being ruffaloed?
Ruffaloized?
Yeah, ruffaloed.
Ruffaloed. Ruffaloed is when you have what seems to be bad luck that actually turns into good luck later. It's like getting a brain tumor, but then it being like the best thing that ever happened to you.
That's actually your life.
Yeah. So my friends have a term, getting ruffaloed. You know, it's like...
you actually had a brain tumor, right?
Or like not getting a job, but realizing like 6 months later, if you had got that job, then you wouldn't have gotten a really plum job. Like, you can count on me. It was a series of things that appeared as bad luck in the beginning, but would turn into good luck later.
What's the good luck from the brain tumor?
I just learned. I mean, that was a bad example. Brain tumor sucks.
Brain tumor sucks.
Who wants a brain tumor? It's amazing. You're not going to believe how great a brain tumor is. No, but okay, so I got a brain tumor. I think I'm going to die, but it was like the best of the worst. I didn't die, but I learned a lot about myself.
What's the best thing you learned about yourself?
That I could survive a brain tumor.
It's a pretty good thing. It's great to see you, man.
You too, man.
Really appreciate it. Mark Ruffalo, everybody, the Avengers. We'll be right back.